Hey guys, welcome back again. How are you all holding up? I am so not taking this quarantine very well. How are you guys all dealing with it? Do let me know. On a completely separate note, I got a new stylus and I haven't quite tried it yet, so I'm going to. Mm, let's see how good or bad I am with it. Okay, managed to draw something that looks like something. All right, so last week we looked at transmission media, different media properties, different types of transmission media. This week we'll be starting something new. We'll be looking at something called switching. All right, so switching is a new concept for us. Now, yeah, the concept of switching in datacom may be new, but the term switch itself is not something we haven't already heard. Now, if you think about it, we hear the word switch quite often, right? We switch lights, fans on all the time, and um, we're normally asked to switch them off when we're out of our rooms, right? So the term switch, we do use the term switch a lot in our regular day-to-day life. Now, let's kind of look at what the switches that we commonly use do. So whenever you're using a switch, you have a switch that when you turn the switch on, basically the light illuminates, and when you turn the switch off, the light um, turns off, right? So internally in a circuit, what the switch does is a switch completes the circuit, and that in turn allows the current or the electricity to pass. So you see over here, you have a basic circuit, and oops, sorry, I turned it off. All right, so uh, this portion over here that I just marked in red, that is a switch. And you see when the switch is turning off, it's completing the circuit. And whenever it's completing the circuit, the LED over here, the light emitting diode that I just marked, the light, I'm just gonna write it. So the light is turning on whenever the circuit is complete, and the light is off when the circuit is open, right? So what the switch is doing is creating a pathway for the current to pass, what I just said before. Now, the thing to see over here is in data communication too, what a switch does is it kind of creates a pathway. I'm gonna write it here, pathway. It looks like an O. All right. All right. So what the switches are doing is they're creating a pathway for the data traffic to pass, or for the messages that we're sending to pass, right? So in that sense, switches are kind of things that we are not really completely new to, right? So once again, switches basically will create a pathway for the data traffic in the network to pass. Now, if you guys remember, we talked about what networks were relatively early during our course. Okay, why does that keep on happening? Okay, so a network was basically um, uh, there were different devices, and the devices were connected using links in a network. So a network is just an interconnection of devices using links. So I'm gonna just draw a very basic network over here with 3 devices. So, all right, guys, you guys have to forgive me for my terrible, poor drawing skills. No idea what that line came from. So anyways, basically you will have, all right, I'm just gonna make this where it look like this. Right, so we have 3 devices. Let me just mark them 1, 2, and 3. So you have 3 different devices and they are connected using links. Now, you see over device 1 and 2 is connected using this link. Device 1 and 3 is connected using this link, and 2 and 3 connected using this link. Now, these are called point-to-point connections, where each of these have a link dedicated towards them. All right. So in this configuration, it's relatively simple because we have only 3 different devices. Now, if there were like millions of devices, and if we had a point-to-point connection for each of these links, or if we used a one link to connect a device, each pair of devices, then number of links would be skyrocketing, and that would be a very inefficient way of setting the whole network up. So to mitigate that, to make things a bit more efficient, what we do is we use a switch network, right? So that is where switch networks come into the picture. So in a switch network, instead of using a dedicated link between each pair of devices, what we'll be using is we will be using some devices, intermediary devices, which are switches. So over here, this picture depicts a switch network. So you have different end devices, your computers, normal devices. So in this picture, sorry. So in this picture, just gonna change the color. So in this picture, A, B, C, D. These are basically your workstation or your communicating devices, laptops, telephones, whatever. So these devices are connected using some intermediary links. So the devices that I'm gonna be marking in blue, like this device, this device, this device. Okay, I cannot get used to that. So this device, this device, and this device, these are basically our switching devices, right? So what the switching devices are doing is they're providing connection between the end devices. Now let's say device A wants to send some data to device H, then the intermediary devices 1 and 5, they would be creating the pathway. The pathway would be like this, right? So what the switches are doing is basically they're creating a pathway, they're providing that service to kind of maintain the data flow, right? So switch networks are subdivided into 3 different categories. So you have circuit switch networks, packet switch networks, and message switch networks. So circuit switch networks normally work at the physical layer. So this works at physical layer of the TCP/IP model. The datagram network, which is a subdivision of packet switch network, this works at network layer of the TCP/IP protocol suite. Pardon my terrible handwriting. I think it's gone again. Network layer. Right. And the virtual circuit network, this one works at data link layer. Right, so these are where these different types of layers function. So we'll be looking into details of how circuit switch networks are, how they function, how datagram networks are and how they function, and how virtual circuit networks are and how they function in the next parts of the videos.